All right. Welcome to the HolmFront, where we try and keep everything objectively subjective. I'm not sure if I should put that first or after, but we're going to do it first today. I'm Tyler, your host, and to my right, as always, is Mitch, my overly artistic friend. Mitch.
Hi, I'm quite disheveled today.
So we just finished a show that just finished airing,
Yeah.
and we've followed a couple of the movies so far. Not all of them, but we did two so far, right?
No, we've reviewed like
Oh,
four
no, I'm
on
sorry.
this
We
channel.
did. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
I
we have
forgot.
4 Alien reviews up on this channel. We're
Yep.
Alien junkies, I guess.
We did Prometheus, Covenant, First Alien, and then Romulus. That's
Yeah.
right. I forgot we did those two.
You don't even remember.
Nope. So
All that
long
hard
a-
work
It was
for
a
nothing.
long time ago. Long time ago. It was a good discussion, though. See
It
our
was.
channel for more. So we just finished Alien Earth.
Yeah. And I have a couple of confessions to make.
Okay.
The first is that I'm sorry because it was my idea to finish watching the show. And I apologize
Spoilers
for
for
what
we
I put
think.
you through. Because I thought there would be, because there was like hints. We said, because we reviewed the first 3 episodes or first 2 episodes or something like that. We were like,
I think
okay,
it's first 3.
it kind of got off
No,
rails.
first 2. You're right. First 2.
2, okay. We were like, I think we said it kind of got off rails, but there was, some interesting tidbits in there, and it was such a mixed bag. I was like, well, we should finish it because it's a mixed bag. Well, by the time it ended, it was no longer a mixed bag, and I think it was very clear. So I apologize for that. The second thing, my walk of shame. The second thing is I have to now apologize to Timothy Oliphant because I said that he was Josh Duhamel.
Which he is not.
He is not. It's not Josh Duhamel playing the android character in this. It's some other actor not named Josh Duhamel. So my apologies to you, sir.
And not Josh.
But he does look like Josh Duhamel, does he not?
I don't know who that is. So
Okay, he's the guy
I'll
from
go-
Transformers, where he's like, "You're a
Oh,
soldier
yeah.
now."
Yeah, he does. That's fair.
Thank you.
This
So
guy,
I just ran with it, but
I didn't know what his name was, but I did know that he played in The Office. So I didn't know if it was the same guy or not.
oh, okay.
But he plays in The Office.
Oh.
Maybe we'll do The Office next. Okay, so
No.
Alien Earth. Let's do this. So let's do a synopsis real quick,
If you can, go for it.
if I can. Okay, so it seems, just as like a disclaimer, this has a lot of the elements that we like that Ridley Scott was trying to introduce into the Alien franchise, which has a lot to do with the androids and then life and what it means to be human, those kind of general themes that he's constantly playing with.
Creator and creation relationships. Yeah.
Yeah, which were great. But this show specifically is about a spaceship that crash lands on Earth, and it has a couple of xenomorphs and other alien species on it, and about what subsequently happens. And I think that's a good enough synopsis without giving too many spoilers away. And
Yeah.
then the other thing I'd ask is, just on a general level, I think I know where this is going to go, but what would you rate the show?
1 star.
Woo!
It was awful. I thought it was terrible. This will be interesting because I want to hear your take though. What's your stars?
Goodness. Probably closer to a 2, because I liked a lot of what they were trying to do, and then it just stumbles and falls so hard at the end. It's just like, it just smacks, face plants right in the ground. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of hope, and I think that was what kind of, like, I'd otherwise give it like a 3 or something.
Okay.
But just for for my hopes and dreams that it was actually in an upward trajectory, and it just like crashed. Okay, so
I do want to put in context.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you're a little more generous with alien stuff than I am. I think in all cases that we've reviewed something alien, you've given it a more generous grade, except for the original movie, which I came around on.
well, no, I think Prometheus we both were pretty generous with.
Oh, and that one. Yeah, I like that one too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we were both honest about Covenant. It's a guilty pleasure, even though it's a mixed bag. With Alien Earth, here's the only here's the caveat I'll give why I'm willing to give it a little bit more grace.
Okay.
Is it seems like they were trying to play with a little bit heavier, more difficult questions, and that's really difficult to encapsulate in a story and bring home effectively.
Okay.
Which is clear enough with how the show ends. But I mean, it's like a high
But they
risk.
tried. Is
It's
that what
a
you're
high
saying?
risk, high reward type thing, and it's like,
Okay.
hey, you tried, so I'll give you that. You
Okay.
tried to give this thing some life. But that's all I can give it because they really seem like they were unprepared for how to end it, whether it's having a good answer or having a feasible answer or even like leading you off in a direction that is interesting, of
Yeah.
like giving you something to think about as an audience member. Didn't seem like they really followed through well enough on that. It seemed like they were just using these interesting elements in order to push something across, which is why, in my opinion, it fell flat. So,
Yeah.
is there anything else that you want to give spoiler free before we move into the spoiler territory?
I can get into the few things that I did like about the show.
Okay.
So I'll do that. So I liked one thing, but it's a few things because it's two actors. I
It's
love
like a category with the two things in the same category.
Yes.
Okay.
So one category, two subdivisions, and that's it.
Okay.
So the 2 points are I loved the actor for the boy genius, who's this trillionaire
Which I had it
company
up. I
leader.
should have just put it on script, but it is Samuel Blenkin.
Okay, yeah, Samuel Blanken.
Blenkin.
He was fantastic, but it was him and his character. I liked how he's this really aloof character who has I mean, he's always wearing like these weird flamboyant outfits. They're like Hawaiian shirts and
He's always
stuff.
got his shoes off.
Yeah, he's just always barefoot. And his whole thing is that he just wants to have an interesting conversation, and he doesn't think other human beings are at his intellect. So, he's just this narcissistic. Well, I can't say because it's a family show, but he's a narcissist. And he was really enjoyable to watch, and I felt like he encapsulated that character like completely. So I really liked him, and then I liked his second in command, or one of them anyways, which was the not Josh Duhamel.
Timothy Olyphant.
Timothy Olyphant.
Which is Olyphant, not like Lord of the Rings, but close enough.
Yeah, very close. But he was fantastic. You can just see how much he was stoked to play the character. He was like, so I get to be an android in an alien TV show? Sign me up.
Yeah. And they made him look like the original android from Blade Runner. I don't know if that was like on purpose, but he's got the white hair and stuff, and he's kind of got that like almost creepy, expressionless face all the time, and he always takes things in stride and doesn't really have a reaction to anything.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that was his inspiration, but that's just pure speculation.
Yeah, and he does the kind of like I felt like he understood the Ian Holmes performance from the original very well, because Ian Holmes comes across as human for most of the movie until it breaks down, and then you're like, okay, well, he's just like some weird robot person. And he kind of was like, well, what if he maintained that persona consistently throughout the whole thing? It never broke apart in any way. And so I thought he did a great job of that. And, like you said, you can't really read into his face to know what he thinks necessarily, because there's a whole plot line. I won't spoil what it is, but there's a whole plot line where he knows what is happening. He can tell that there's like a sabotage occurring, but he has like a conflict of interest of what he's supposed to do. So he prioritizes things effectively, but in a way that a human maybe wouldn't do. So the fact that he just kind of lets the situation get out of hand as it does was really fun to watch, because you're constantly wondering like, well, how much does he actually know, or how far is he willing to let this thing happen? And just with the way he handled his facial expressions, it was so perfect. So I just thought he was fantastic. Oh, and I have one other thing that I kind of liked. I mean, it's a double-edged sword, but if you'll take it.
Okay.
I liked the score for the show.
Okay. That is a qualified statement, but okay.
Yeah, so I got to like preface it, because I can't just say that it was good, because of course someone had to get involved and ruin it. But for the most part, the score does work. There's a lot of moments where it sounds like the Jerry Goldsmith score, or like kind of it has like inspiration from that, but isn't that. It's still its own unique thing. So I thought that was really well handled. And like when he decides, like, or rather when the filmmakers decide to let their composer do his thing, then it works. It's all the instances in which they decide, nah, we don't need you, we got our own idea, and then they put in music. That did not work at all, and that was horrifically distracting.
I will say there's a couple of moments I don't like. Like he had a couple of those weird drum moments, or like And I think he was trying to still play into the classical side of things, but when the action started to rise or whatever, when the alien was chasing people, it was got a little weird.
There were places, that weren't perfect.
But
I think on the whole, it mostly, especially in the
Yeah.
slower stuff, it worked really well.
The slower stuff, the philosophical stuff,
And the horror
kind of like
stuff.
the horror stuff was great. The end credit stuff, horrible. I don't know who decided to do that, but the guy that did the Michael Bay movies, he's like, you know what? We did this for end credits and Transformers, so I think we should do it here. I think that's what we should do.
Yeah, it's just this
And
like
they let him do it.
obnoxious rock music.
Every
so-
episode.
Every episode. So every
Yep.
50 minutes of like the slow, brooding, like, ooh, creepy, unnerving stuff, it's and you're like, huh?
Yeah,
And
why
then
did this happen? It shouldn't have.
Ugh.
That's the answer.
I
right
can't
there.
even believe how distracting that was.
It was highly annoying. Okay, so is there anything else that we want to say that we like before we jump in? 'Cause
Well, that was my stuff. I had to be tortured and give it some praises. So let me hear some of your stuff. What did you like about the show that you could say spoiler free?
I suppose for the most part, I mean, I think we covered this in the first episode anyway, but I really liked the concepts that they brought up in the first couple of episodes about putting children in android bodies. And we'll expound on that in the spoiler section because a lot of that gets into like the later episodes.
You want to just
but
move into that then?
We might as well because
Okay.
that's most of what I liked is when they actually started expounding on that. So,
Okay.
so here's our spoiler free. We're going into spoilers now. Okay.
So the recommendation is don't watch it now.
Yeah,
Go
it's
proceed.
terrible. No,
Now
for
that we
what
said not to watch it.
for what it's worth,
Yeah.
there is a lot that is worth watching,
Yeah.
but it definitely does not deliver at the end. Like we can't overstate that. Like it falls so hard, especially in the last like 20 minutes of the last episode. It's built all this stuff up, and it's like, why? Why did you do that? So, okay, so I like to get back into the stuff that I like, the philosophical elements of what it would be to put children's minds into the androids. And the thing that I really liked is there's a conversation that the boy genius has. I forget who he has it with. I think, is it the doctor? Yeah, he has it with another character in the show about why they chose children. And at first you think it's just because it's these terminally ill children, you're just giving them a chance to live. But I think that's just another play into the corporate greed angle of the whole show, is that he's playing on the emotions of parents of like, well, they're going to die anyway. We can give them another chance at life. Now, I'm not sure how exactly that's explained because all the families think that these kids are dead. So,
Right.
but they put him in, and then it's like, okay, well, his reasoning, to go back a little bit, his reasoning is that a child has such a boundless imagination and is so moldable that they're the only ones that are capable of becoming the greatest thing that they can be. They're capable of the most amount of evolution or whatever because they're immortal now. So they can start at the bottom and then they can just go ad infinitum. That's the concept. And that was an interesting one. I was like, okay, what would that be like? What would it be when a kid figures out what it's capable of when it's kind of boundlessly capable? So I was like, that's interesting. I like that. And that is all in the pursuit of him having an effing interesting conversation, as he says. He's like, that's all I care about is I just want to be able to talk to someone as smart or smarter than I am.
Yeah.
And he insults all these people on the way to make that point. But I was like, okay, that's interesting. And they use these themes of Peter Pan because they're the children that never grow up. And she's named Wendy. And then they like go through the narrative of J.M. Barrie and how it plays into those themes. And that's all good. I don't mind all that stuff. But it, like I said, so in the first episode that we did, we talked about how scattered this show felt. Because it's dealing with those really deep philosophical questions, but also trying to do, and very ineffectively, do this horror angle that Alien does so well.
Yeah.
And they're doing it just terribly. They kept playing on same tropes or similar tropes over and over.
People dying and not reacting the way that they're supposed to.
There was that. It was overly gory and disgusting for no real reason.
Yeah.
Like, the one thing that I can say about the original Alien is that they're trapped on a ship. And so you're not really sure like what it's doing, but it seems like it's just trying to survive. But it's smart enough to know, like, I can't kill everybody because I'm locked in this little bubble as well. So I don't know what to do after I'm done. in this one, doesn't really seem like there's a real reason for it to be killing everybody. It's just killing people. Like, it's not like eating, and it's only doing a little bit of incubating.
Well, actually, I wasn't sure about that because anytime the xenomorph attacked somebody in this, it would like tackle them and then like chew on their shoulder or something. And I just thought that was
Okay.
really weird. I was like, isn't it supposed to open up its mouth and then shoot out the second mouth and
Yeah.
kill you? And instead, it was just like, and mind you, it does this when there's like a whole group of people that it's attacking.
Yeah.
So it targets one, and instead of just being like, you're dead, moving on to the next one, it's like, like a cat. And I was like, what are we doing? Like, are you going to finish him off and move on? Like,
That was another thing. It seemed like over and over and over and over, it was attacking groups of people.
which xenomorphs don't really do. That's another thing.
In
That's
the
a
original
problem.
films, it seemed to isolate somebody and go after one or two people,
Yeah.
and then it would take off. It would run because it was surviving. It would heighten its chance of survival because it knew it could take one. Didn't want to figure out what multiple could do, so it would just kind of isolate somebody, and that was the horror element of it.
Mm-hmm.
This one, it's like there's a room full of people over there. I think I should go get them all.
Yeah.
It's like, why? Just
Now,
because it's there and we can make it a graphic, gory scene.
to be fair, there is an in-world reason. I don't know if we want to get into that just yet, but like it's being controlled or like being asked to do this stuff, which was ridiculous. But anyways, we can talk about that later.
Well, yeah, sure. But it happened even before that, is my point.
Well, yes. I mean, look, it's a bad show.
Trying to give a reason why it's bad. Why it's terrible.
So I don't have a reason for that.
Okay.
I was just saying, like, later on, you could theorize that there's a reason.
Later you could.
I don't know why I'm helping the show.
I don't either. Why are you defending anything in here? So like, yeah, so
Well, I'm
say
interested in the things that you were interested in.
those are the ones. Those are the ones. Because the rest
Is
of
that
it,
your list? Just one and
it's
two, and
pretty
that's it.
Pretty much. I mean, I like the score. I really did like those two actors, like you were talking about.
I wanted them to win. I wanted those two actors to just come out on top. That would have been great. That would have been so interesting if they were the ones who were like had all the power, or like they made a play at the end. Because this is the thing about it is that the end of the
you
show.
think that those two, especially the boy genius, would have some kind of contingency that would make him win.
Yeah.
Right, where it'd be a stalemate at the end.
Right.
See, I would have. Maybe that's my HolmFront picks, actually. Go ahead.
Well, my thought was just to say the problem with the ending, without even saying the spoilers, is that it sides with a character, and then they're the one who was right, and everybody else was wrong, and that's the perception that you have to
Despite the
take
fact
away.
that you just watched how that's not true
Right,
for
exactly.
the whole show.
And so when it does that, it's like, this is bad TV show writing. In a TV show, it's supposed to end where every character kind of won something. And that's good because then in future seasons, you get to see about how that plays out. Like everybody sort of gets left with the consequences that they were seeking after, or they get a response to what they were doing, right? Because TV show formula is supposed to be dispersed between multiple characters. And so you're invested in certain characters, and maybe they're the same characters as me, but maybe I have more interest in some other characters or whatever.
Sure.
And so in that format, you want to kind of make sure each character is getting their own story. They can be the hero of their own story in some way. And this was just like, no, everybody was wrong. This is the only character who was right. And screw you for thinking otherwise. And it was like, okay, well, now it just feels preachy and pretentious.
Which it was, which is why it fell so flat. The interesting thing about this type of show, especially, I think, is that it's dealing with all those philosophical topics. So just to kind of get a little bit into it, this guy, you know, he takes all these children and puts them in this synthetic bodies, right?
Yeah.
And that opens up a world of possibilities. But then it would be interesting if he had discussions as to why they didn't tell their families that they're still alive. It's like,
yeah,
you know, maybe there's some interesting reason that gives him some validation. Is like, well, could you imagine if we did that and they stole the kids and then you leashed them upon the world? You know what that could be? And then if someone tried to propose the argument of like, wouldn't that be the parent's decision with the kid? And it's like, well, no, because for one, I gave them life.
yeah.
So it's because of me that they're alive right now. So technically, I'm their parent.
Oh, that would have been interesting.
See,
to
that
have him
would
say
be
that.
like, now you have more nuance and depth to a character so that people are like, maybe this isn't as straightforward as we believe it to be, where it's
Mhm.
like, You know, or maybe he's done it before and you can see the effects of what happened with that is like,
Hmm.
well, yeah, remember that one kid they did that with and he just went on a rampage and we had to put him down, which was way more awful than letting him actually live.
Mm.
You know, something like that where it would give a little bit more of a reason.
Even so, I like the idea of the boy genius character saying like, "Well, it's mine now," because that would fit into the narcissistic
Right.
trillionaire self-possession. Like, "Oh, I own this now. It's mine. It belongs to me." When it's like, "Hey, this is like someone else. It
So
doesn't."
someone else's child.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's not your property. But like for him to see it that way would make a lot of sense for the
Right.
character. So yeah, no, yeah, that would be a great opportunity. Too bad it was squandered.
Yeah, missed opportunity on that one. Yeah, because he has a character that he could have that conversation with. Actually, two. Namely, is the scientist chick who
Yeah.
has this weird motherly instinct that's not super well expounded upon in the first place.
Hmm.
She just kind of seems like a weepy, whiny character that almost seems like she's working towards an arc and then it just cuts off.
Yeah, she's supposed to be their like psychological evaluator or something like that.
She takes this weird maternal role in her own mind.
Yeah, see, when that happens, though, I thought what they were doing is making them like I thought they told her to do that, and they said you two are gonna be their parents, like her and her husband. Like you will serve as the parents for these kids, or like surrogate parents, like foster parents or something like that. So you're supposed to behave in that way, but no one ever brings it up again, ever. So then it was like, is that really a thing, or is that just like a her weird thing that she's doing? It has nothing to do with anyone else.
I took it as a her thing, and they were telling her to quit doing that. And so she had to play with her own emotional investment and the things that they were telling her to do. And that came through at the moment when the one girl thought she was pregnant, which
Yeah.
that was the one part that I was getting really invested in
Mm-hmm.
because the show had led me to believe that anything was kind of possible. So I
Oh,
was like, this one might actually be pregnant. Like something might have happened where like, you know, the whole
sure.
Jeff Goldblum thing, like life finds a way. Like I thought if something like that was going to happen, but this girl is just a little girl and she was essentially psychologically snapping
Yeah.
because she now has this invincible and you know, eternal body
Right.
and she's taken away from her family. She doesn't know what to do. She's super disoriented. So
She's
she's
horribly
just
traumatized from encountering the alien things.
that too.
And
Yep.
so it's just as a reaction, it's like she starts concocting this crazy narrative.
She concocts, yeah, essentially a reality in her mind. And it starts to fuse into the synthetic body or whatever, but they're able to take that data, they call it, and remove it. And so they reset her.
Yeah.
But for some reason, they don't reset everybody else. So all these other children that she's talked to, they just let them remember that she's been talking about being pregnant, so they all want to remind her right away. It's like, you guys didn't think of this? You didn't think that they would all be talking about, are you okay? What happened with the baby? That kind of thing, where it's just going to re-bring up all the trauma. And so that part was kind of weird because they like acknowledge it in the show, but they also are like, well, yeah, we're not going to fix it though. It was a weird thing, but I thought that part was interesting because it's like, yeah, what if one of them started to mentally crack? What would that look
Hmm.
like? And they kind of like half played into that narrative and then kind of dropped that one too. And I was like, why'd you drop it? That was the most interesting one.
Yeah.
And they just kind of was like, she obeys somebody else now. It's like, why? She's someone that wouldn't.
Right.
She'd be upset that someone else would be trying to take charge, essentially, because she doesn't want to be taken charge of.
Yeah.
She'd be taking that maternal instinct where she wants to be in charge or she wants to be free or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was stuff like that that kind of was pervasive that,
Well, it's funny how to you that was such a minor point, because to me that part was infuriating. Because like they take her in, they wipe her memories, then they put her back in her bed, and the moment she wakes up, Wendy's sitting there.
yeah.
And immediately is like, yeah, you were saying you were pregnant, but you don't remember that? And they're like, what? No, I don't remember that. And I was like, what did you think was going to happen?
Yeah, what did you think Wendy was going to talk about?
Yeah, what did you, like, everybody knows. This was insane. I was like, so they're not going to bring her out and be like, hey, just so you know, what she said about being pregnant wasn't true.
Right.
And
we need to bring her
we
back
talked to her.
slowly.
Yeah, we talked to her. We got her sorted out. It was something to do with her memory banks. They were messed up. So we fixed it. So everything's fine now, but just don't press her so much on the issue, okay?
Right.
Because you're gonna resuscitate that frustration. So they don't tell any of the other android kids this. They tell them nothing. They just throw it back and just assume everything will be fine. I was like, why would you
I'm
assume
glad we
that?
both saw the same thing. That's funny. Because
Yeah.
I thought initially when she wakes up and Wendy's sitting there, I was like, this is how it was when she initially woke up. So I was like, I wonder if they're just trying to physically reset everything too. Where it's like,
No.
but yeah, but then she starts talking. I was like, oh, so they didn't bring Wendy into this at all. Like, they're
Nope.
like, no, she just was in there because she cared. I was like, oh, they're not going to be like, hey, make sure you don't mention the baby. You know, like, that's all you got to say.
That's all you had to say.
But they didn't. It's
Right.
like,
So then
ah,
everyone brings it up.
duh.
Shocker.
Yeah. But that's the thing, is that the writers knew enough to know that the kids would bring it up. It was like, well, wouldn't you think further back a little bit and think maybe the adults would be smart enough to be like, don't bring it up? No?
Yeah, see, that's the thing, is they made the adults really, really dumb in this. It was
Only when they wanted them to
excruciating.
be, yes.
Yeah, I mean, they have moments where they're intelligent, but the times when they were dumb, they were real dumb. Like, they have just outside of the facility the grave
Yeah,
site.
so to give context, the facility is on an island, so it's secluded from everyone and everywhere. So they can't really escape if they wanted to, and no one can get in. And so they're in this like bunker facility, and then within the bunker they have a secret lab or a secure lab or whatever that has all the aliens in it.
Yeah.
So they have the aliens inside, and then the android kids outside. I guess they're not androids, synthetic kids outside. And then outside the facility is just this jungle. It looks kind of like a Lost set, I guess.
Yeah.
So anyway, go ahead with that context.
Yeah, so just around back, they have the grave sites where all the kids, their
where
bodies
their
are
actual
buried.
bodies are buried. Like,
Yeah, so they transfer the kids' memories and thoughts and thinking and whatever into their consciousness into these synthetic beings. Then they go out back and bury the bodies. And I was like, okay, so you didn't come up with some bureaucratic nonsense and send the body back home and say, oh, so sorry, they died during this process. It's a shame. It wasn't our fault. It was an accident. Sign here, the dotted line. Oh, you already did sign here.
yeah,
We
here's
got
$1
you.
million and a funeral and bada bing.
Right. They didn't do that. Instead, they left them out back for the actual kids there
With
who-
markers.
with markers.
With grave markers. They're
With
like,
grave
just in
markers.
case you were curious as to who's in here, it's you.
What was this for?
You know, like,
So they go out there and they
They-
see it.
it's almost like they have, AKA Wendy is buried here. Like,
That was
why
literally
did
what
you
it was.
let them know?
Well, yeah, and so here's the other thing, too. It's
The other thing is, yeah, they zoom back at one point.
a huge island.
It's a huge island, and there's other islands. It's like, just go to the one next door.
Right.
Just park them over there. Drop them in the ocean.
Right, because they can't get there
Why
anyways.
is it visible?
Right. And even then, so on top of all of those things, when the characters find it, when Wendy and everyone find the gravesite, you're just thinking to yourself, wait a minute. The odds of them stumbling into this exact spot on this huge island, there's like 1,000,000 to 1. They just happened to cross through it.
It would take some time, depending on how free they were to be able to explore.
But they weren't
But then-
exploring. See, that was when they were trying to
True.
escape the island at
Right.
that point. So they were just like, well, we're hightailing it out of here. And I'm like, this didn't look like the path to way out. This looked like off the road, because there is a road. There is
So-
a path through the jungle. Why weren't you on that?
Here, I'll try and steel man this. As best I can. I'm going to try. Here's-
Put it together like a puppet.
This is what I'll try and do. The trillionaire doesn't want to pay any extra money for someone
Okay.
to ship all these bodies over to the families or even to the next island. So he
Which I don't buy, given his character, but go ahead.
Sure. Yeah, he seems like a lot more careful than that. But he just tells Joe Schmo guard, hey, you got to go do something about these bodies. He's like, well, where do you want me to put him? He's like, I don't care. Just bury him. So he goes on. But the thing was, like, they're in like these concrete graves, and they have headstones that are imprinted in concrete. It's like,
Right.
there's a lot more thought in here than just a couple of unmarked graves, like with a couple of crosses. Because you'd think if he told some guard to do that, and he's like a sentimental guard or whatever, then maybe he marks the grave and like does it with a little wooden cross or something.
Right.
That would make more sense. The fact that there seems so much more care and effort that was put in is like, well, clearly the whole corporation's involved in this.
Right. They'd
So
have
it's
to
like,
be.
Yeah. So it's like, well, where are we going to put this? I guess on the only road in or out. So in the event
that
that
everybody
these,
can see them
everybody
when they
knows
come in or out of this place.
these are the 6 kids we put in the ground. And he was just like, this. Yeah, I'm not buying it, guys. Like, this too much.
So cringe. I was just like, my God. There's another sequence too where the characters are really dumb. Where so the character we were talking about before, where she's like this matriarch figure for them, and she's
The
married
psychologist?
to the psychologist,
Yeah,
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 and she's married to this other guy, and he's a scientist too, and he's helped being a part of this project
Yeah,
as
he's
well.
like the bioengineer or whatever, and he's able to
Right.
actually mess with the android bodies and their memories and things. He was
Yeah.
the one that transferred the consciousness over and stuff, and then she's
Yeah.
the one to help them acclimate to the new life.
Yeah, exactly. So they had a couple combo going on. So anyways, what happens is
Power couple.
power couple. There you go. Yeah. So what happens is at some point he refuses to do an order because he's like, well, that's like wrong on a moral level. I'm
Yeah.
not doing that. So like, all right, well, you're fired. And I'm like, okay, stop. So for one, like, do you know how hard it was to get him in the first place? This guy probably has like 4 PhDs in
Which
like,
he mentions.
yeah, he says something like that.
Yeah.
He's just like, I'm fine. So I'm like, okay, so like you have to have someone of like his extreme intelligence and talent and skill set in order to do this job. That's not someone you can just flat out fire. And even if it was, like, you're telling me you didn't assess from the beginning that you might have moral qualms with it?
That's fair.
Like, give me a break. So anyways, they decide to fire him anyway. They're like, yeah, you're fired. Also, too, it's not even the boy genius who fires him.
Right.
It's an assistant who's an android. And I was like, I don't think he would make that kind of call. He would let the boy genius do that. See, when it happened the first time, I didn't know he was an android. So I was like, oh, I thought he was like in charge of something or other. And then later on, they reveal he's an android. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, so he's just subservient to the boy genius. So why is he making this incredibly important judgment call?
Which I think that's the first android he made, if I'm not mistaken. It's either him or Oliphant.
Sure.
Because he tells a story about when he was 6, he makes an android, and it kills his dad, and then he adopts that android as his father figure or whatever. So it must have been that Butler character.
Oh.
Because the Butler character seems to have some kind of sway, with his opinions.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why he had so much corporate power or whatever. But I think, again,
Why would you leave anything to an android, especially if this is supposed to be a prequel? Like, remember how Ian Holmes like malfunctioned?
Yes.
And so they're like, it's like you're not gonna. Why would a trillionaire who's like brilliant entrust anything? You see what I'm saying?
To try and steelman that. Again,
Do it again.
I'm trying my best. The first
Holding up the show. I can just imagine it. It's like it's a xenomorph, but it's made out of straw, and you're
like that-
trying to give it a spine so it stays.
like the dead guy in the end, just like anyway. So what I'm gonna say is that it's probably trying to play on themes of hubris. One, that the boy genius would trust the android with that type of decision. He just was like, sure, carte blanche. The other one is that the android, but that is fair. I don't see why the android would play into themes of hubris, because it's purely logical, like it purely is mission based.
Right.
So why would it care about things like hubris? Why would it play into those themes?
It wouldn't.
Because that would be something the boy genius would do. It's just like, well, you're fired. We can find someone to replace you, whatever.
Right.
No big deal.
Sure.
And then realizes later, like, maybe that was a little hasty. I should have waited till I had a replacement to get rid of this guy.
Right.
But yeah, you're right. Like, it doesn't seem like something that character as an android would do in the moment. Because it's like, well, what if something happens? You don't have anybody that could do that guy's job.
Right.
In the event that it's needed, and it probably will be needed, considering there's like 3 xenomorphs running around, and the containment's breached, and we have like people coming up on the island and stuff. Like, probably not the time to get rid of the guy.
Yeah.
But
even so, I feel like the boy genius wouldn't have fired him. He would have done is pressed him and really gotten under his skin, and then the guy quits, and then he's like, oh, okay, well, I can work with that, and then he would threaten him, then he would blackmail him,
right,
because that's what he does to somebody else. So I feel like that would have been his tactic. So
he would have had something to sway over him. Yeah.
Again, but it's like, so now it's like it makes like multiple characters dumb. It's just like, because now it spreads out to the boy genius character, and I'm like, well, I don't think he would have let this slide.
Right.
Why would he entrust the android? He wouldn't have handled it this way based on what I know of the character so far. So it's just like a problem upon a problem upon a problem upon a problem. And then after that, Yeah, that was like a whole detour just to explain why that scene didn't make sense. But then the scene I was going at with it is that he quits, or he gets fired rather, and they're like, well, you have like 24 hours to get off the island. And so what happens is he's, packs up his stuff, he leaves, drama happens, and where's his wife in all this? Well, she's taking a nap.
Yeah, she
What?
knows that he's getting kicked off the
She
island
was in the
she's
room.
there when he gets fired, and she knows he's got to leave. But instead of being my beloved betrothed, this is like, well, he's out, so
I guess it happens.
see ya. Call me when you get home. Nah, don't call him. I'll find someone else.
He even does something suspicious, and he removes the trackers on the android characters, the kids, anyways. And when they find this out, they go and interrogate her because it's like, well, she should know something. It's her husband who has authorization to do this. So they go in there and they're like, tell me you're not a part of this. And she's like, a part of what? And she's just straight up telling the truth.
Yeah, she has no idea. She wasn't around.
What her husband's doing.
She leaves the room.
She thinks he's on a plane.
Yeah.
Back to...
So, yeah, if you're just watching this without having known that, you'd be like, oh, well, yeah, she totally seems suspicious. She's totally lying. She knows.
Right.
She knows that her husband probably did this.
Right.
But then you've seen the whole show, so you know, oh, no, she really doesn't know any of this. She doesn't know the fact that her husband is just, like, shown a human side and is like, you know what? These kids deserve a chance outside of this greedy, horrible corporation. We should let them go. Because the thing is that Wendy's brother comes into him, and he's like, he's having his suspicions about this place, as he should have from the moment he got there, but whatever. So he starts having the suspicions. He's like, you know what? I should probably start asking questions, probably. And so he's like, he goes to the science guy, and he's like, I just want you to let me know if Wendy is safe. And he's like, oh, yeah, let me show you her vitals, and then shows him, like, stuff on the computer screen.
He has, like, a secret message, like, she's not safe, get out of here.
Not safe, and then he's like, I'm going to disable the trackers. So he does that in front of him so he knows, like, oh, if we want to run, we can go. And so the camera doesn't pick any of this up or whatever. That's the other thing, though. It happens on camera. Yeah. So, like, they've seen everything he's been doing, and they know that the wife's not there.
Right.
So it's also weird that they're asking the wife, because it's like, well, you have him doing some shady stuff or potentially shady stuff when the wife's not present, so why would she know?
Right.
But regardless, he does that, and he leaves. He's like, it's a parting gift, essentially. He's like, well, I'm not a part of this anymore. I can't be the buffer between the kids and the corporation. So if they want to leave, I'll give them a fighting chance, which is like, okay. One of the few times that someone acts like an actual human in the show. That's good. And they ask the wife, who's not acting human and not saying goodbye to her husband, who she's not going to see anywhere for a while because she's on a remote island and he's not. It's like, you don't want to give him a hug goodbye or anything? Like,
right. They said they would shoot him in 24 hours if he's still around.
Right. And she's like, I would too. If he's trespassing, you got to do what you got to do. It's like, what? You're not going to be like, whoa. That's crossing the line a little.
Yeah, she's not like, oh my gosh. And even so, like when they confront her and they say like, well, your husband seems like he's doing some shady stuff and you know about it. And she's like, oh, I don't know anything. And I was like, really? That's your reaction? So it's not even like,
I got to get back to this
what did
book.
he do? What's happening?
Yeah.
You know, like, oh my gosh. Oh no. The last I saw him, I was giving him a hug goodbye. You're telling me he's in trouble somehow? Do tell what's happened to him. Instead,
have you shot him yet?
Instead, she's like, oh, you woke me up from my nap. I don't know where
idiots.
he is.
I told you about this. Don't wake me when I'm sleeping. Ridiculous. Yeah, it was weird. It was this emotionless reaction. I was like, man, you don't care at all. At all. What's going on with this?
But, isn't that so in line with how the show started, where someone gets, like, massacred by a xenomorph, and they're like, And it's like, who's the director telling the actor to act that way?
Yeah, crank it up. Crank up the intensity. Let's go. You're terrified. You're dying. You're getting ripped apart.
It's eating you. Like, it's a monster.
You're still alive. Cry about it. Do something. It was so weird. Yeah, I was odd. I was like, just didn't really not getting her heart in this performance here. But the same thing with this one. It was like, man, you're really not invested in the fact that your husband's just taken off indefinitely. Whatever that means in this scenario, it seems like it's pretty important. Right. But then, then he just goes missing, and it seems like she doesn't ask any more questions at all.
Yeah, no, she doesn't
just
care.
Like, okay.
And to put a bookend this particular story before, so we can move on to something else, And this is full spoiler, but like it matters. It's the dumbest payoff ever. So anyways, what happens is this guy, in a moment of actually good screenwriting, when he gives the message to the brother character about Wendy and like, go take the keys, I unlocked their trackers or whatever. Once he leaves, there's something like, I forget what it was, but he presses something on the keypad, and then it's like, or there's like a notification that there's something wrong in the laboratory.
Yeah.
Or no.
One of the kids his tracker's been disabled. It's not communicating back to the computer.
Right. So yeah, exactly. So I thought that was clever. So he disabled the tracker for all of them, but one of them isn't responding. And he's like, wait a minute, why isn't that one responding? And then he sees where it is, and it's in the laboratory where they keep all the aliens. And he's like, oh, something might be wrong there then.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. And then he goes and investigates. And we already know.
Something that actually naturally progresses the plot forward. It was a beautiful thing. It was wonderful.
Yeah, because we had already seen that kid already. He goes into the laboratory and he gets killed by aliens in there. So we knew that, and that no one had found him. And so this was a natural way to have him go in there, discover that, and then, of course, get infected. And then after that point, they go on this long narrative. Lots of stuff happens. He dies. And I'm telling you that because they felt the need to bring him back in the last moment for no reason. So to do that, I have to explain a little bit of context. There's this alien that they've invented for this. It's an eyeball with like squiggly legs. And what it does is it goes up and it plucks the eyeball out from something else. This is really gross. I'm sorry. It's an alien show.
And then expect we got chest bursters and face huggers and stuff. Why wouldn't this exist? But go ahead.
So it pops the eye out of living things, and then it goes in itself and replaces the eye. And it's like, I'm assuming it's grabbing onto your brain, so it has like it's your mental faculties or whatever. So throughout the show, and they really love this creature, by the way.
They harped up on it. They put it in a lamb, and the lamb's just staring at stuff. The only part that I found interesting, well, I'll say two things. One, it's in a lamb or in a sheep or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wonder if this is like a Philip K. Dick reference or something.
Oh, Android's Dream of Electric Sheep.
Yeah.
I was just thinking lambs are innocent, but yeah, I get what you mean.
There is that too, but I was like, I wonder if this maybe is a devil reference. Anyway, it's standing there, and the boy genius comes in and asks him a question, a mathematical question, and it has to do with a number. So since the sheep can't talk, it taps its foot a number of times in order to answer his question.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's interesting. So it's showing some sentience, and then the boy genius seems to think that he's found his companion that he can talk to.
Yeah.
And then it proceeds to do nothing with that. So, I mean, that scene was great, but they didn't play. Yeah. See season 2, maybe. I don't know.
Well, yeah, because the idea is he's like, well, now I need to put it into a human host so it'll have more intelligence. So then you're thinking, well, that's going to cross a serious line.
Yeah.
But that would have been interesting to follow through, and that doesn't happen.
They tried. To be fair, they do try. They try and put it in the brother.
Yeah, they try, and they fail.
And they fail. Yeah.
I think it should succeeded somewhere.
Maybe that'll be part of season 2 is that he gets his friend and they talk.
But that would have made the eye alien more interesting if then it took on, because here's the thing. When he was suspicious of it and then the sheep makes that gesture, I was like, wait, what? Because that seemed to contradict what I saw earlier, because the eye possesses a human being on the spaceship before it lands on Earth. But when it possesses that guy, he doesn't say anything.
He does communicate with the alien.
Yeah, but it's just like, I mean, he's just a zombie person. So I was like, okay, so he's a zombie person. This is stupid. And then the big twist at the end is that the eye gets out and goes to the corpse of that guy we've been following around. And then he goes into him, and it's like, oh no. I'm like, it means nothing. He's just a zombie.
Right.
Who cares?
He's just got get a motorboat, essentially, something like a walk around. That's all he has.
Yeah. So if he could talk, then it would be interesting, because then it would mean now we can talk to this creature, and that would be fascinating to see what we discover. Or if he wasn't murdered and he just went into like a living person and concealed himself within that, then it would be incognito, and that would also be interesting. But instead, they're just like, well, let's resurrect this guy and make him a zombie. It's like, why do we need a zombie in Alien? How does that help the plot in any way or the character development? How does that create good tension? Like, just gun him down. Like, that's what's going to happen in the next episode.
Yeah, they'll gun down the body and he'll get out and go to another one. What I thought would have been more interesting is if they do give him someone. Like, they just grab some janitor or something and chuck him in there.
Yeah.
And it kills him, but it's able to be in there, and it's able to start doing certain things, but it can't quite control the thing properly.
Uh-huh.
So maybe it's learning how to speak, but rigor mortis or something is setting in. So it can only do so much for so long with a human body that's dead.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, we got to contend with the decaying corpse. Then the boy genius would be like, well, what if we gave it a synthetic body and actually fit it for the eye? So that at the end, you can have the eye jump into a synthetic body that it can control and actually communicate with.
Yeah.
Because then that would be interesting. Now you've morphed alien and synthetic. And maybe that's the plan they have for the next season or something. But that's something that would have been fitting with the themes of the show.
Yeah.
And then it would have been something that potentially could have talked to Boy Genius about what it knows about the secrets of the universe or whatever it is that it wants to do. But it's an intelligent being from space. So it's like, well, you can explore a whole lot with that. And it's like, yeah, maybe, but not right now. And then it just moves on. It's like, oh, okay, so we got zombies in the alien show now. Okay, got it.
Yeah, like the amount of attention they gave this stupid eyeball creature, and
so much,
so
much attention.
I'm the first one to say, like, okay, the whole premise of Alien is like you need a new alien creature, but the thing is
it needs to do something.
It has to have there needs to be a logic to it. Like the alien process is like you're going through a cycle of life, disgusting as it is. So it's like, okay, it incubates, it births a creature, then that creature becomes like a murdering psychopath.
Sure.
And it's like, it's there to be a killing machine. That's what it's designed to do. And that's why there's always characters in alien movies saying like, well, it's perfect in its design because it's just so singularly focused. Everything about it is just like designed to kill.
And to live, yeah.
Yeah, and to live. It's a predator. So I was like, okay, totally fine with that. But like, what's the eye's purpose? How does it does it perpetuate itself? Does it have conversations? Is there intelligence there? Like, what does it want? It intentionally gets a synthetic person killed, and you're just like, why? It doesn't benefit it in any way.
Yeah.
It probably could tell that it was synthetic and not real, so why would it care? So it's just like, what is this? What is it? What does it matter?
It just wanted to see. I felt bad about that joke.
You made it, not me.
I just watched everything, the whole show. I felt,
okay.
Yeah, that was a bad joke.
Well, that joke was actually a bit of a relief in comparison with the show.
Fair. I wonder if that was the actual reason. Like, well, it's an eye, so it just wants to observe all that it can. Therefore, it knows all sorts of secrets. Get up.
If that's the case, I mean, they certainly gave it enough attention. Like the amount of close-ups on the sheep eye thing, just looking at someone creepily.
Yeah,
it's like, okay, I get it. It's in the room. The plant thing's still in the room too. And then there's this like beehive with these fly things that come out and kill somebody. And I was like, I don't recall seeing them in any other scene except that one. So I was like, so I didn't even know what that was. That got one scene. It kills some synthetic guy for no reason. And then you're just like, okay.
I just wanted you to know that they had other stuff in there. There's some other cool stuff probably that you're interested in, maybe. Okay.
All right, we got to get off that topic.
Off. Moving on. Is there anything else that you thought had potentially, well, it had potential in the show at all?
Well, you see the potential. I don't really. But I will say, okay, I actually do want to talk about one other thing.
Okay.
That maybe, because I think you actually didn't like this part as much as maybe I did, which might be kind of weird. So there are these, so it's kids in android bodies, right? We established that.
Yep.
Well, one of them, he has a confrontation at the beginning with this cyborg guy. He's a person, but he has a lot of synthetic parts to him, I guess. And the cyborg guy was on the ship originally. He was trying to escort the aliens to his overseer or whatever.
Okay, yeah.
And
his corporation.
Yeah, his corporation. So he has a confrontation with one of the kid androids, and he puts like this sticky thing on his neck, which allows him to communicate with him afterwards. And what he does is, he blackmails him. He threatens to hurt and kill his mother if he doesn't do what he requests. And what he requests is to get somebody infected by the alien so it can make a distraction so he can go in and infiltrate. So all of that I actually thought was interesting. It wasn't like the best storyline you could have come up with for an alien show, but given the context of you're working with kids, I thought, okay, this is like something that could work. So I didn't hate that narrative arc. and it did lead to some pretty good humor because
Oh my
his
gosh,
friend,
yeah.
his like best friend, I don't know who, I forget the actor's name, but he plays like the child in a man's body perfectly.
Yes, he does.
Because he's so like
His mannerisms are so perfect. Because he's always
they're
just
so on point.
he's just so hyper innocent. He's like, nobody wants to play anymore. He's like, you guys all got boring when we got here. Like, I just want to hang out with you guys, man. So this kid, his friend's getting manipulated by this guy in his head, and the guy's threatening his mother. So he's like, I'm gonna kill your mom if you don't infect somebody and bring me the infected guy so that I can have this alien specimen.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay. So he'd already promised his best friend early in the day that he'd hang out with him.
Uh-huh.
So the guy comes and he's expecting due. He's like, it's time to play, man. You promised. And the guy's got this dude under his bed with a face hugger on him.
Yeah.
And he's like, you can't come in right now. But the guy barges his way in. He goes, what are you doing with Arthur? What's wrong with him? Is he going to be okay? He's like, we got to get him down to the beach. He's like, but is he going to be okay? He's like, yeah, he'll be fine. We just got to get him down to the beach. He's like, okay. So they like pick him up and they're like dragging him down. Arthur wakes up. The thing pops off his face and he wakes up. He's like, what are you guys doing with me? He goes, we had to evacuate and your wife is waiting for us at the beach. It's so, because he like nails the mannerisms of these kids trying to lie, and Arthur picks up on it.
Right.
He's like, why are you guys lying to me? He goes, we're not. We got to get down to the beach. We got to get down there. But then Arthur, being incubated by the alien, actually plops over and the chest burster comes out. And this kid loses it. He goes, you said he'd be fine. You lied to me. You said I only decided to help because he'd be okay. He's not okay, man. He's dead. It was so funny.
It's literally just like that.
It's like exactly how a kid would deal with this. He's all mad at him later. He's like,
right.
You lied, man.
Right. He's like, you betrayed
me into this. It's so good. But yeah, the actors, overall, I think the actors that were portraying the kids in the android's body did a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
The speech
him
patterns,
especially. Him and then the girl
especially.
who goes crazy, which we'll talk about next. But
that's fair.
Yeah, but I love like he has this moment where he's like, oh, he gets frustrated and then he like slaps a jungle leaf. But like it's just this,
yeah,
like,
that's right.
It's not like he smacks it. It's just kind of this like I have to let the
that's
frustration
right.
out.
That's
somehow.
when he goes. That's when he goes initially. He's like, you want to hang out? And he's like, I can't right now. I'm doing some busy stuff. He was. He's so mad.
And then he like puts his arm around his friend. He's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Well, I'm just
giving an adult hug."
Giving an adult hug.
What? Yeah, you could tell that guy was really playing it. He's like, I love this role. This is great. He probably has kids, and he's like just watching his kid. He's like, all right, I got it. I think I can do this.
Yeah. Yeah, he absolutely nailed it. That was such a... But, okay, so did the humor work for you? Like, I mean, I know it worked for that stuff. But there were other parts, too, where I was like, am I supposed to just be laughing? Because this seems kind of absurd.
The only, like, situational moments that I thought worked for humor were the adults working as kids, just because that's how they would actually be. So it just fit the narrative. Like, it was just, that was seamless to me. And then the boy genius, just because of how
eccentric he is.
He's super eccentric, but he's almost himself singularly focused. He's able to kind of think a couple of steps ahead of most people. So he's obviously intelligent, but he's like, this is my goal. Whatever I need to do to get to this goal, to have an interesting conversation with someone.
Yeah.
It just seemed like that he was just constantly narrowly minded in that direction.
Yeah.
Which ended up being his downfall, unfortunately. But just for what his character brought to the show and what he brought to the character.
Yeah.
I thought that really worked because it is just humorous for what it is, not because it's trying to be funny.
Yeah.
So if that's what you're asking me, then yes.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't remember too many moments where they're trying to be funny, where they're trying to insert jokes where it doesn't work necessarily.
Gotcha. I feel like I'm misremembering them now, but I feel like there were moments where I was just like, am I just supposed to laugh at this person getting killed or something like that? Because it was just so awkward. Like it just did not understand how to do the horror stuff. And then it does this comedy stuff, which I did think was funny, but then it was like in spite of itself in a lot of ways. Cause I'm
Mm.
like, so now the sequence where someone gets killed by a face hugger is like just played for laughs, I guess. Like,
Yeah, that's fair.
sure. Like that's kind of a weird way to take that.
It's also happening in broad daylight, so it's removing a lot of like the mystery and the scariness. Because that's the thing, like you can do a little bit with an island, I suppose, but they didn't really focus on that.
No.
Because like the original is done in a ship, and that's supposed to be an isolating factor. Is that there's only so many places you can go on a ship. Same thing with an island; it's a little bit larger, but that works better for something like a Jurassic Park, where
Or a
it's
TV show premise where you have a longer story to tell and you want more things to interact with on that
right.
island. Not grave sites,
Yeah, not these
but other
contrivances.
things you could come up with.
So I guess, yeah. I mean, to move a little way away from that premise, in order to fix this a little bit, I think what I would have done was that the xenomorphs are able to propagate a little bit faster than normal, maybe, or something,
Okay.
and they take over the island. So the island is, their section of the island where it's safe is getting smaller and smaller. So that way, it kind of like makes that world. But that's just going off of the sunlight thing. It's just it seemed like it was too bright. Anytime you saw the xenomorph was in the sun, and so it seemed like it was trying to bring this like I don't know if it was levity that they were trying to bring to it, or if it's just them not understanding why the darkness was important. And it served two factors in the first one, to be fair. The first one was they're trying to hide a lot of defects within the special effects, whether that be makeup flaws or special effects flaws, but they're trying to heighten the awareness, kind of like they did with Jaws, even though that was also unintentional. The less you see the monster, the more intense it is when you do. And so that's why you only got like glimpses of its head or glimpses of it like in the background where it's kind of shifting around. This show kept doing that to like pay homage, but it didn't need to because it wasn't as technologically unevolved as the first one was.
Yeah.
And so to me, it was like they weren't playing to their strengths and weaknesses. For instance, one of those strengths would be the fact that the kids are in the android bodies, therefore it has a lot of room for humor wherever you want it.
Yeah.
Because it just has that moment. Whereas like the other factors weren't playing into their strengths as well. I know I've gone off a little bit of a tangent where we started, but
That's right. I'll bring it back.
They weren't playing it as well as they could have, and therefore it was really muddled as to like when certain parts were supposed to be humorous and where they weren't. Like I have trouble putting it all back together in my head. Like I remember we finished the show right before we started recording, and I'm still like trying to muddle through it all to like find the threads that all pulled it together.
Yeah.
So I can't even remember all the humorous moments that you're bringing up. I just remember the kids moments. That's it.
Well, yeah, that's kind of my. I mean, a better way I should have phrased the question was just that, like now the context of it has shifted so much that it's now like confuddling what the point of it is. So, for example,
but it's also trying to have its cake and eat it too, because it does have a whole sequence where they're on a spaceship and a lot of alien-esque stuff happens.
Yeah.
But then they have the rest of it on this island, and then some of it was in the city in the beginning and that kind of thing. Like all these different sequences that just like spread throughout.
Yeah.
Whatever this world is.
Well, yeah, it is all over the map. I'll address that in a moment. I will just say though that I think it has kind of a tough juggling act to do, because if you compare with, let's say, so the original was just like it's straight horror right down the line.
Sure.
The second one, Aliens, that one, it's more of an action movie in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But there's still like Cameron at least understands like, hey, I have to scale this in a little bit to do the things that the original movie did. So for example, one of the great scenes in that movie is when they get locked in a room with the face hugger and it's running around and it's like jumping out at them and trying to get them. Yeah. And Sigourney Weaver like blocks it and she's like holding on and it's like trying to get into her mouth or whatever. So like that scene is terrifying. That's like one of the most memorable scenes to me, despite the fact that it's a big shoot 'em up action movie. I actually remember that scene most vividly because it was so intense, because like you knew what the danger was if that thing gets attached to you.
Sure.
And so like, and the way it plays around, like it walking around the room and like waiting for an opportunity to strike, it was terrifying. So like, you know, that was like a moment where it's just terror. There's nothing else. And in this movie, I felt like, or in this show, it's kind of like, I don't know how to just take what it's presented to me, because like you said, it has the kids there and they're responding in the way that is natural, but it's like the choice of making them kids has now created an inherent contradiction with the material because it should only be so serious if we're exposing kids to this kind of thing,
Sure.
right? Because like with what's the kid's name in Aliens? I forget her name, but there's a little girl
Yeah.
that survives and she's like terrified of these things, and she's there to pull on our sympathies and to have us like worried that, oh no, if it gets the little girl, that's the end for humanity as we know it.
Sure.
Right? That's like where we put all our hope into. And in this it's kind of like we don't quite get a chance to do that. I will say in its defense, it does have an appropriate reaction to all of these things where you see the characters start to evolve a little bit. They're growing up, and so they're reacting and responding to this horrific event. And the other character who was manipulated into delivering this creature or whatever at the threat of his mom, he's really broken up about all this. He doesn't want to be doing these things, right? And he's just like, oh, like, and he's struggling with it, and he can't really pull it off. And then it somehow kind of happens for him, and then he delivers, and then he's just like sticking to it, like, I made the right call, I made the right call, I made the right call. But it's like, he himself is just like so like dark and depressed now. He's like all upset over it. So I like that there was an appropriate reaction to something like that.
That's fair. Okay.
But it was kind of like, it's like I needed a little more. And so like when that finishes, I would say his arc is mostly complete. But then it's like if I go to others, like there was that other girl we were talking about, the one who was like thought she was pregnant. She goes like ham on these guys later on and is just like beating them up, and she like rips somebody's jaw out. She just like loses her mind. And I'm like, all right, well, that's interesting. But then they didn't quite resolve it. She just becomes a minion for Wendy. And I was like, I don't really see her doing that because she's gone feral. So why would she trust Wendy or anybody? She should just attack anybody or something like that.
Sure.
Or like have her own logic explained so that it makes sense. And the other character they forgot about was the other female android, because she wants to be the favorite of the boy genius.
Yes.
And she sticks to that. But it's like one scene in episode like 3 or something, and then they never mention it or her again until like the very end.
Yeah.
When she's talking about how she's the favorite. And I'm like, but you didn't do anything to make yourself the favorite.
He also said she was not the favorite, that she was in the running. That's the end of that conversation.
Right. So we never got a follow-up to that.
Right.
Which would be fine, but it's like it's taking on a narrative arc that it's not prepared to address.
Well, okay, so let's address the last episode and the ending of that specifically in order to help people understand what we're talking about here. So with that character, let's just do that one first. And I forget her name, but she goes in and was like,
is it Nibs, I think? Or was it the...
No, Nibs, I think, is the maternal one.
Oh, okay.
This one, she comes up and she's like, why is Wendy your favorite? He goes, well, she's the first one.
Mm-hmm.
That's essentially it. And so, and to be fair, she does have the most potential, but that's the reason he gives. And then Wendy later tells that character, the girl that wants to be the favorite, well, Wendy was the character that was Peter's favorite that grew up, and then Peter had to kidnap her daughter.
Mm.
And so she was almost like foreshadowing whatever that is. I was like, okay, that's an interesting spin on what the deal was there. But then it seems like that line just changes the other girl's mind. She goes, oh, okay, well, I guess, yeah, I don't like him either. So I'll just join Wendy's team. And I was like, wait, why are you joining Wendy's team? But to be fair, they also didn't develop any kind of animosity between the two. It was just the fact that she wanted to be the favorite. And that was just the only scene they put in there. So that's all you knew about her. You don't see how she tries to be better. You don't see how she tries to like push Wendy aside or denigrate her at all. It just, that was only one scene that you had, and then it just pays off in the end where Wendy beats her down. It's like, no, you're wrong about that. This is what the story actually says, and therefore, he's wrong. And it's like, okay. The other one that happens is that, yeah, that kid keeps repeating to himself, we were manipulated, we were manipulated, we were manipulated. We didn't make those decisions. We were told to by someone else. Mm-hmm. And so now he does something about that. He captures the guy that manipulates him, puts him away, and claims, okay, well, he's a bad guy because he did this, and I'm kind of absolved from the fact that I got someone killed. Yeah. I was like, wouldn't growing up be to acknowledge the fact that you had something to do with that, regardless of what led you to that circumstance? Is like, yeah, he was threatening your mom, but dude, you incubated this guy and then got him killed because this thing popped out of his chest.
Right.
Like, that is you. You did that. You had a firm hand.
Yeah,
and you dragged somebody else into it too. Like, you dragged your friend into that.
Uh-huh.
So there's that level of responsibility that he's also refusing to take, and he doesn't. by the end of the show.
Yeah.
And then there's Wendy. So Wendy goes into this monologue with her brother that is just insufferable. I was like, what are we talking about? Because that was like, I was fairly invested in most of it and like what they could do with the ending until that happened. Because as soon as that monologue happened, it just kind of shut all those doors down. I was like, no, none of these possibilities. This is what's right. And I was like, not really. This doesn't make any sense. So what she says essentially, so they're trying, it's her brother, and Nibs are trying to escape. And Nibs is the one that thought she was pregnant. They're trying to escape from the island.
Mm-hmm.
They get to the boat, and they find that the boat has her brother's compatriots in it, along with a bunch of other soldiers, and they all stop them. They're like, you can't leave. They said, we knew you were going to try something stupid, so here we are. You're under arrest. Nibs goes nuts, rips the dude's jaw off, starts going ham. I was like, that's awesome. All right, I like this. This has some serious potential.
Right, because it was such a stark contrast from who she was when she started.
Right.
She was the frail, fragile, scared one. So for her to just snap like this in a truly violent way, it was like a monkey see, monkey do thing.
And she had this interesting complexion where it didn't seem like she understood the severity of what she was doing.
Yeah, she did a good job with that.
Like true pure insanity. And I thought like she's holding this teddy bear and stuff, and they rip it away from her, so it's like ripping away her security. So she just attacked whoever does that.
Yeah,
I was like, this will be interesting. So if they play up on this, she goes off later and she doesn't even understand the reality of what happened. She just knows like I'm now getting what I want. She might even slip back into the thinking that she's pregnant again or something.
Right.
Like just really play into those themes of insanity where she doesn't realize she's killed another human being. So that was interesting. But the brother silences her. He shocks her into silence.
Yeah, he shoots this like electrical thing, and then she like shorts.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Nibs has his friend, someone he used to work with and has saved his life, and she's about to kill her. So it's like, he's a little justified, I think. It's like, yeah, I would probably save my friend too. It's like, this is probably not the way to go about this. Like,
he's also like bringing the tension back down,
right,
and like resetting the situation so it doesn't get worse.
Morally, seemed like a pretty solid thing to do. I was like, this is about even ground. It's like he's not really picking a side, but also he's making sure people aren't dying in a way that he just saw someone could die.
Right.
And I was like, that's pretty justified. All right, cool. But Wendy thinks that he's betrayed them now.
Right.
And she goes up and like morally beats him over the head. She's like, what? You shot Nibs. And I was like, Nibs ripped someone's jaw off. Nibs is crazy. Nibs needs help. He didn't kill her. She's fine. The other person would have died if he didn't act. I feel like this was a good middle ground.
Right.
But she's like beating him up. And she's like, I can't be what I want to be or what anyone else wants me to be. I don't know what I am. I'm not a kid. I'm not an adult. I'm just nothing or whatever it is. I'm like, what are we talking about here? Like, what are you talking about? You would have been dead. You were dead. You had this terminal illness. Now you have a new body and a chance at eternity. Now you don't have to like it.
Right.
But dear God, what are you berating him about?
Yeah. Well,
he's enslaved to this corporation's not able to get to her before this happens, thinks that she's gone, ends up finding out that she's alive, and now she's blaming him for something. And I was like, what did this guy do? He's actually been on your side the whole show.
Right.
What are you talking about?
But in that scene, so this is where it really goes off rails, because not only does she say that, which you could justify and say, well, she's a kid, this is her way of justifying
that's
things.
Fair.
You could do that, but instead he goes, oh, you're right, I effed up.
Yeah, I was like,
and it's like,
where did you F up? What part of this did you do something wrong? You tried to save your sister and her friend, and then when that went wrong, you tried to save your other friend. Sounds like you've just been consistently doing the right thing. Wendy said that you weren't, and you're like, well, I guess you're right.
Well,
why?
Let's now take a step back and reevaluate Wendy as a character.
Oh, dear God.
Because throughout the story, what's happened is that she learns to communicate with the xenomorphs because she's synthetic, so she can emulate their speech, basically. Or they don't... Whatever. Just go with it, okay?
Their speech.
That's what the show said.
She can talk to him.
So she talks to the xenomorph, and she commands it. Now, I don't know why it would obey her.
Right.
But okay.
Maybe it's strongly suggest.
Okay.
She strongly encourages it.
So she tells it to go and kill like masses of people multiple times
Yeah.
in this show. She
Full-on
commands it to
groups.
go in and just like wipe out, because it's like there were security guards trying to stop them from escaping the island or whatever. And so she has them just slaughtered by the xenomorph. Not threatened or anything like that, just brutally murdered.
Yeah.
And she's completely unfazed by this. Now the brother character witnesses it and he's like, well, that was horrible. That's
It's
terrifying.
a little dark, Wendy, probably.
Yeah, he
I
says
think
that to
guy
her.
might have had a family.
And she's just like, yeah, he basically says that equivalent to her. And she's like, oh, well, like, it's fine, whatever. And then as it goes on, she has this line that she gives that just pissed me off to no end, where he's like, we're not like them, okay? They're predators, right? You get the difference where they're food.
He's talking about the xenomorph.
Yeah.
Which is true.
Yeah. And then she responds with, like, well, humans kill humans. So what's the difference? And I was like, what kind of brain dead take is this? Like, so... okay, like, yeah, throughout history, like, this house somehow makes it right. And at first I was like, all right, well, I guess, like, that's just her character developing in this, like, dark kind of way. And we're going to have to figure out how to, like, get her back on track if we can. But otherwise, we've made a monster. But no, like, the whole last episode, too, is like, who's the real monster?
Wendy.
And
it's definitely Wendy.
It's clearly Wendy, except the show decided it's not Wendy. It was those evil trillionaire corporations. They were the worst ones.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
Boy Genius and his people friends. Anyone human is terrible. I was like, wait a minute. She legitimately sicked this thing, this otherworldly murderous thing on multiple people. I think we know who the evil one is, right? No? Because that thing doesn't really care. It's about survival and it's an apex predator. That's it. It kills and it incubates.
That's it.
That's all it does.
Right.
I'm not going to get into that one. But it's like, but she then learns how to like talk to it like it's her dog. And it's like, get him.
Right.
What?
And then
what are these guys are doing their jobs, man. They're just making sure the island is safe and that you stay on it. And she's like, you all need to be ripped apart, probably. Dude.
Yeah, because it gets all moralistic. I mean, she just locks everybody up in a cage, berates them in the final scene, and then says, like, now we rule. And I was like, what do you know about ruling? What do you even want to rule for?
Yeah,
what
are
are we
you
ruling?
ruling?
This empty island?
Yeah.
With like 5 people on it and 2 xenomorphs?
Yeah, she
like,
does
what
that
is
whole...
this?
You're an angry son of an angry father, and you just became what you destroyed. You're a terrible little child. And I was like, what are we... Okay, I think we all knew that, but what are we going to do about it? Because you just killed a bunch of people, too. So, like, everyone in this room is bad, but at least he had some kind of goal and some kind of control. You seem like you're just dipping into insanity.
Right.
So, like, I'd rather have him in charge at this point, honestly.
Right, because it's like you just seem like a wild card who could kill anybody who gets in your way.
Right.
And that's supposed to be justified somehow?
Which is backed up by the fact she has 2 xenomorphs behind her, just like threatening anybody in the room that wants to say anything about it. It's like it seems like a power move. I don't know if I want this dictator with 2 xenomorphs in charge. But okay, sure. Yeah. She rules.
It was this super shallow political message is what it was, because it's just like the eat the rich thing or whatever.
Is that what they were trying to do?
Yeah, basically. It's just like, the evil corporations. I mean, the boy genius is Elon Musk and their perception of things. Or you could put in Bill Gates or whoever you like.
Sure.
And it's just like, again, it flies in the face of like what a story should do, because it's like it wants to morally preach at us, this whole message. And I'm like, that could be Wendy's take. But then what does the boy genius respond with? Well, she can't talk to me that way. I'm like, that's not what he would say.
No.
He should have just been like glee at that. I've been like, that
Someone
seems like
outsmarted me.
Yeah, like that's an interesting conversation. That's how he should have responded. And then you would have been like, okay, so he did get something out of this exchange. He's actually into it in his weird narcissistic way.
Well, it would have been more interesting if he not only had conceded that, but also like had some kind of contingency up his sleeve or something.
Exactly.
That's what it would have felt like.
Like a good TV show would have done.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's a Joker character or something where he's always 2 steps ahead. But yeah, I mean, you're right.
Yeah.
Instead of just being a whiny little baby that has tears running out of his eyes at the end because he got berated and scolded, he would have been like, I have found my interesting conversation. I have found my equal or whatever.
Yeah.
But
no.
it doesn't happen. It just is like, this is the message we were getting across. Here it is. It's like,
Hope you guys liked it. We'll see you next time.
yeah.
Let's eat the rich together.
I don't agree. You actually made me like the guy a little bit.
Well, yeah, because then it just isn't authentic.
Right. Yeah, and it didn't allow you to come to a conclusion. It gave you the conclusion they wanted you to have.
Yeah.
And intrinsically, at least for us, and it seems like there's quite a few of the audience members seem to reject that. Which, it's because there was some measure of self-awareness while they're writing in order to give nuance to some of the characters, at least, in order to point you in directions that when they deviate from that at the end, again, we reject. It's like, well, hold on. This you set up all these other things.
Right.
This is not the right answer. Like, this seems like this is something that wasn't earned. You didn't earn this ending.
No.
You can't say this because I actually don't like Wendy anymore. She
Yeah.
seems like a very dark, disturbed character.
Right. And it wasn't in like they didn't portray it in such a way as to make you think like, oof, this character went down a dark path.
Right.
And we didn't see that until
Instead,
it was too
she's got
late.
this weird moral high ground. She's on a soapbox that we're all supposed to agree with or something.
Yeah, it's not like a Game of Thrones character where you're like, eesh, they went off the deep end. Oh, man, I wonder what's going to happen next time.
Right.
Like, they're way more dangerous than I thought they were. Instead, it was just like, oh, I'm supposed to side with this person? Really? Yeah. Like, they're the ones who's just, like, slaughtering senselessly.
Yep. But the guy's rich, so we should hate him more.
Yeah, I mean,
more than the murderer.
I mean, at least he was like, if you want to talk moral, it's like at least he was like developing science.
Sure.
That people could have benefited from. There was something.
That's fair. Well,
show sucked. I thought it was terrible. I mean, it's right up there with Alien Resurrection.
Ooh.
Resurrection's probably worse just because that's a really ugly movie.
Just
like
aesthetically?
Yeah, aesthetically, it's hideous. Ugh. Whereas this wasn't a hideous looking film, so.
No, it had a decent amount going for it visually, but yeah, I can't say I disagree. It's not that great of a show, fortunately.
Yeah.
It had really interesting concepts, not a whole lot of execution, unfortunately. So, what can you do? Another one for the trash.
Right on the trash heap.
Any other final comments?
No, I think that's perfect.
All right.
It sucked.
Yep. Thank you for watching. So you made it to the end of the video. If you liked it, please consider subscribing and leave us a comment. We'd love to hear what you thought.